So this right here is a plaque dedicated to the 74th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry Regiment. This is the regiment of my ancestors from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. As I said before, my video on the field of the monument, the regiment was consisted of mostly Germans from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. My ancestors, as I stated already, were from the south side of Pittsburgh. At the time, it's called Birmingham Borough on the Monongahela River. But right here, my ancestor, Henry Christian, the only relative that was at the Battle of Gettysburg, that's his name, Henry Christian, right there. He was in Company K of the 74th Pennsylvania. And at the time of the Battle of the Gettysburg, there's a star next to every name of the guys who were killed at the Battle of Gettysburg. And in Company K alone, killed or mortally wounded, Second Lieutenant William Roth, Sergeant Fritz Heinl, and Private Gottfried Hammond. And Gottfried Hammond, from what I researched, was actually from the south side of Pittsburgh too. He was an immigrant from Germany, but he lived in the south side, aka Birmingham Borough. And so, also, there's another fun fact on this plaque that I think is very interesting. Is I have another ancestor, my third great grandfather's on this plaque in Company G. His name is Henry Riebel. There he is, Henry Riebel. Henry Riebel is my third great grandfather. He is the son-in-law of my fourth great grandfather, Henry Christian. The reason why Henry Riebel is on this plaque, for many Indians that don't remember, Henry Riebel was wounded, shot in the arm at the Battle of Chancellorsville in May 1863. For the best of my knowledge, he was not present because he was wounded at the Battle of Chancellorsville. He wasn't present here at Gettysburg. But the reason why he is on the roster, he is on the plaque, I'm assuming, is because his name wasn't taken off the roster yet because since the fact that he was wounded so soon before the Battle of Gettysburg, they didn't have time to remove him from the official regimental roster. That's just what I'm assuming. But as for Henry Christian, my 45-year-old fourth great grandfather at the time of the battle, he was the only blood relative on my dad's side of the family, or my only blood relative on both sides of my family, direct bloodline, DNA-wise, who was on the battlefield here at Gettysburg. But many of my mother's cousins over on the southern line, Virginia, I have about 40-some, 50-some distant cousins from Virginia that fought for General Lee of the Army of Northern Virginia at the Battle of Gettysburg. But this is my only Union ancestor that fought here at the Battle of Gettysburg. And I thought that this was a very cool thing to highlight. I mean, I highlight it every time I come to Gettysburg, but why not? I'm very proud of my blood. I'm very proud of my ancestors, and I want to promote them as much as I can, especially when I'm here on the battlefield that they served, or that he served on, for 3 days in July of 1863. So I'm going to be showing you a wee bit more about the beautiful Pennsylvania monument, and I'm going to be talking about just the architecture and the genius of this monument. And I mean, it's one of the greatest monuments here on the battlefield, of course, because it was fought on the home state of, well, my home state of Pennsylvania. So since the battle was fought on Pennsylvania soil, they have skin in the game to be able to get the biggest monument, the most prominent monument. Is probably one of the most beautiful monuments here on the battlefield, of course. Not bragging, Pennsylvania all day, but as we come over this way, we can see the different plaques of all the Pennsylvania regiments. And also here, I'm going to be talking about the general officers at the Battle of Gettysburg from representing Pennsylvania. And as you can see, we have the 11th Corps Brigadier General, my ancestors' brigade, the commander of my ancestors' brigade, Brigadier General Alexander Schimmelpfennig, 3rd Division of the 11th Corps. And as I stated before, yesterday on the field, Alexander Schimmelpfennig was the brigade commander of the 1st Brigade, 3rd Division of the 11th Corps. But if you remember, he was then promoted to the divisional commander when Carl Schurz was then promoted, or then moved up to the 11th Corps commander after Reynolds was killed. Everybody moved up in command. So Alexander Schimmelpfennig for many Indians that don't know, he was responsible for forming the 74th Pennsylvania Regiment that my ancestors were a part of. And he was part of the recruitment of my ancestors, and not only just my ancestors from Pittsburgh, but also many Germans from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia across the state of Pennsylvania. The reason why he was promoted as an officer, not only for his role in the 1848 revolutions in Europe, but also his prominence and prestige in German politics or German society in the United States. Since he was a Republican and a very good ally to the Republican Party and the Republican platform, Abraham Lincoln appointed him his position because of his name, Schimmelpfennig, and also the prominence of him having such a German established status in the United States society that many German Americans would support him. And also Lincoln needed the German American vote. He needed the German immigrant vote. So appointing Alexander Schimmelpfennig, a prominent officer of the 11th Corps, would not only promote the morale of the Germans of the 11th Corps, but also win a lot of votes for the Republican Party, specifically for Abraham Lincoln in the following elections in 1864. So anyway, and also here we got Brigadier General Strong Vincent, 3rd Brigade, 1st Division of the 5th Corps. He was killed here at the Battle of Gettysburg. We're going to be talking a little bit about Strong Vincent up on Little Round Top. He was the commander of the famous 20th Maine. The 20th Maine was in his brigade, and Strong Vincent was a Pennsylvania boy, very proud to be from Pennsylvania, just like myself. And he was killed, ironically, he was killed here at Gettysburg. And he said that before he was killed, I think that there would be nothing more honorable as a Pennsylvania man to die on Pennsylvania soil, defending the Union on Pennsylvania soil. And it's so ironic that him, as a prestigious Pennsylvania supporter, that he would die here on Pennsylvania soil, which is very honorable and very admirable as myself as a proud PA boy. So I'm going to be going up on the monument and talking a little bit about the architecture and the why some of the statues and some of the artwork are aligned the way they are. So right now it says, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in honor of her sons who on this field fought for the preservation of the Union, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 1863, which what's really cool about this, what it says is it sends a message. Who fought to preserve the Union, for the preservation of the Union, which many people in the modern time don't understand, that the majority of the men that fought for the Union during the Civil War, and I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying the majority of them were solely fighting for the preservation of the Union. So it's very prominent and very interesting that this monument would state that, because that is, to me, that is the sole reason of the majority of the men that fought for the Union Army in the war, to preserve the Union, to be able to preserve the unification of the South and the North. And, not only that it's on this monument, but also it's a statement to all visitors, to all people across the country or across the world who come here, and future generations. It's to be able to tell them, this is what this state was fighting for. This is what the Union was fighting for. It was fighting solely and primarily for the preservation of the Union and to smash the rebellion of the Confederate States of America, the rebellion per se. But right here above me, we got the Army of the Potomac Commander George Meade right here, and this monument is amazing. I mean, the architecture and the artistry of this monument, I mean, whoever designed this, whoever thought of this, is an absolute genius. We got Reynolds right here of the 1st Corps, another Pennsylvania boy. Oh, Meade's a Pennsylvania boy too. I forgot to mention that. Meade and Reynolds are both Pennsylvania boys. Pleasanton, Greg, right here. So as you can see, this monument is not only promoting the commanders, but it's also promoting many of the prominent commanders or commanding officers who were from Pennsylvania. We got Birney, and then we got Hancock. And across the monument here, if you go up into the center of the monument, as you can see, we got a lot of the cavalry regiment plaques listed, and we got many of the names of like the brigadier generals and the division commanders, primarily the brigadier generals who were from Pennsylvania. Especially, we got the great German name Schimmelpfennig commanding, as I said before down there, the 1st Brigade, 3rd Division of the 11th Corps, my ancestor's commander right there, Schimmelpfennig, who is also from Pennsylvania, very proud Pennsylvania German immigrant. And then it says right here, behind me, it says, this is the details of the men. So it gives the details of the men who fought for Pennsylvania right here. It says, Pennsylvania at Gettysburg, 69 regiments of infantry, 9 regiments of cavalry, 7 batteries of artillery. Total present for Pennsylvania, 34,530. Killed and mortally wounded, 1,182. Wounded, 3,177, and missing 860. And me as a proud Pennsylvanian, this makes me very proud. And it's very honorable that so many men from my home state were able to serve and defend the great state of Pennsylvania here in Gettysburg, Adams County, Pennsylvania. And this is, if you're ever here down in Gettysburg, you need to come see this to believe it. You need to come see this monument because it is so prestigious. It is so prominent. It is so just, it's a very, very beautiful piece of artwork here at Gettysburg National Battlefield. And you need to see it to believe it. Words don't do it justice, ladies and gentlemen. And you can actually go up a staircase up to the roof of the monument, which I've done a couple times, which I don't have to do. It's mostly for the first-time visitors or, you know, people that are very adventurous. But for me, who's already seen it, you know, I don't have to see it again. To me, the true artwork and the true majesty of this monument is on the bottom or in the middle. But anyway, this is the Pennsylvania Monument.